The stars glimmered like scattered diamonds against the vast darkness of space, casting a soft light on the sleek diplomatic vessel as it approached the Thalian orbital station. J. Park sat quietly in the navigation chamber, his fingers nervously tracing the edge of his communication tablet. He had heard stories about the Thalian species, rumors of their unique biological structures and complex social systems, but nothing could have prepared him for his first real encounter. The station's metallic surface gleamed with an iridescent blue, unlike any human-made structure he had seen before. As the docking sequence initiated, Jay took a deep breath. This wasn't just another diplomatic mission. The fate of potential interstellar trade agreements hung in the balance. Earth needed resources, and the Thalian system was known for its rare mineral deposits that could revolutionize human technology. The airlock hissed open, revealing Ambassador Lyra. She was tall, with skin that seemed to shimmer between silver and pale blue, her movements fluid and precise. Behind her stood her daughter Enna, and immediately Jay understood why she was considered unconventional by Thalian standards. Enna was different. Where Thalian physiology typically demonstrated perfect symmetry and elegant proportions, she appeared almost asymmetrical. Her left side seemed slightly longer than her right, with additional neural tendrils that curled around her neck in an intricate pattern. Her eyes, large and deep, held an intensity that was both unsettling and captivating. "Welcome, Earth representative," Ambassador Lyra spoke, her voice a melodic combination of sounds that seemed to vibrate through the air. "My daughter will assist in our initial discussions." Jay bowed slightly, a gesture of respect he had practiced extensively. "Thank you for receiving me," he responded, his eyes momentarily meeting Enna's. In that brief moment, something unexpected happened. Enna's gaze wasn't just a look, it felt like a complex data transfer. Jay felt a subtle pressure at the edges of his consciousness, as if information was being quietly exchanged without a single word being spoken. The initial meeting room was designed with neutral tones, smooth surfaces that shifted colors subtly, creating an environment meant to reduce potential cultural tensions. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing star charts, resource maps, and complex economic projections. Our geological surveys indicate significant reserves in the Carrion mountain ranges. Enna suddenly spoke, her voice different from her mother's. Where Ambassador Lyra's speech was musical, Enna's sounded more like a precise computational algorithm, each word carefully selected and delivered. Jay noticed something extraordinary. While speaking, Enna's neural tendrils would slightly pulse and change color, almost like a living data visualization. Her unconventional appearance suddenly seemed less strange and more fascinating. The conversation progressed, covering potential mineral extraction agreements, technological exchange protocols, and environmental preservation strategies. Jay realized Enna wasn't just participating, she was driving the discussion, her insights cutting through complex diplomatic language with remarkable clarity. Ambassador Lyra watched silently, a hint of pride in her expression. She knew her daughter was exceptional, even if she didn't conform to traditional Thalian aesthetic standards. As their initial meeting concluded, Jay felt something he hadn't expected, a sense of genuine intellectual excitement. This wasn't just another diplomatic encounter. This was the beginning of something potentially transformative. "We will continue our discussions tomorrow," Enna stated, her neural tendrils creating intricate patterns that seemed to map out potential future conversation paths. Jay nodded, his mind already processing the incredible amount of information exchanged. One thing was certain: this mission would be unlike anything he had ever experienced. Outside the station's massive windows, distant stars continued their eternal dance, silent witnesses to a potential new chapter in interstellar relations. "Would you like me to elaborate on any specific aspect of this first contact scenario?" The next morning, Jay arrived early at the diplomatic chamber, his tablet loaded with complex resource distribution models. He expected another formal meeting, but what unfolded was far more extraordinary. Enna was already present, her neural tendrils actively pulsing with what seemed like anticipatory energy. Unlike typical diplomatic interactions, she didn't wait for formal introductions. Instead, she projected a holographic model that immediately caught Jay's attention. "Your current resource allocation strategies are inefficient," she said directly, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. The projection showed multiple star systems, with intricate lines connecting resource-rich planets and highlighting potential logistical challenges. Jay was taken aback. Most diplomatic encounters involved carefully worded pleasantries, but Enna operated differently. Her approach was direct, almost brutally logical. She began explaining a computational method that could optimize resource distribution across 5 different planetary systems. Each explanation was punctuated by dynamic holographic models that shifted and transformed, revealing layers of complexity Jay had never considered. What fascinated Jay most was not just her intelligence, but her approach. Where human diplomats would spend hours discussing theoretical frameworks, Enna was presenting practical solutions. Her neural tendrils would change color and pattern, almost like a living computational system processing information in real time. The traditional human approach loses approximately 37.6% efficiency in cross-planetary resource management, she stated. Not as criticism, but as a matter-of-fact observation. Jay found himself both challenged and intrigued. Instead of becoming defensive, he asked questions. Detailed, probing questions that revealed his own deep understanding of interstellar economics. Their conversation transformed from a diplomatic meeting into an intellectual dance. They began challenging each other's models, rebuilding strategies, and exploring potential scenarios that could optimize resource distribution. Hours passed unnoticed. Ambassador Lyra, who occasionally observed their interaction, seemed amused by the intense intellectual exchange happening before her. Enna's unconventional appearance seemed to fade into irrelevance. Her mind was a complex algorithm, constantly processing, adapting, and generating solutions. Jay realized he was experiencing something rare, a truly collaborative intellectual partnership. By afternoon, they had developed a revolutionary resource distribution model that could potentially save billions in interstellar transportation costs. Their combined approach merged human adaptability with Thalian computational precision. Interesting, Enna would often say, her tendrils creating intricate patterns that seemed to map out their evolving strategy. Jay found her lack of traditional, social niceties refreshingly honest. During a brief break, Jay learned more about Enna's background. She had been considered an outlier among Thalians, too different, too unconventional. Yet here she was, dismantling complex economic challenges with remarkable ease. Their meeting wasn't just about diplomacy anymore. It had become an intellectual exploration, a meeting of minds that transcended traditional biological and cultural boundaries. As the station's artificial lighting mimicked evening, they continued working. Star systems became their canvas, mathematical models their paintbrushes, creating a masterpiece of interstellar cooperation. Ambassador Lyra watched silently, a subtle smile indicating her understanding of something profound happening between her daughter and the human diplomat. Jay realized that true communication wasn't about appearance or traditional protocols. It was about understanding, about seeing potential where others saw only differences. When their session concluded, they had not just developed a resource management strategy, they had created a blueprint for a new kind of interstellar collaboration. Enna's final words that day were simple yet profound. Efficiency is not about uniformity, but about understanding complex systems. Jay knew this was more than a diplomatic meeting. This was the beginning of something much larger, a potential revolution in how different species could work together. The stars outside continued their silent vigil, witnessing the birth of an extraordinary intellectual connection. Would you like me to elaborate on any specific aspect of this intellectual encounter? The alarm systems across multiple star stations simultaneously triggered a deep crimson warning. The Crimson Collective, a ruthless interstellar network of militaristic factions, had begun their systematic invasion of peaceful planetary systems. Jay and Enna were reviewing resource maps when the first transmission arrived. Holographic displays erupted with multiple threat indicators, showing invasion routes and potential attack vectors across vulnerable star systems. They will target communication networks first, Anna stated, her neural tendrils rapidly changing color from calm blue to an intense electric red. Her computational abilities were processing millions of potential scenarios per second. Jay watched in amazement as she constructed defensive strategies faster than any human military system could. Her approach wasn't about confrontation, but about strategic redirection and systematic disruption. The Crimson Collective's strategy was brutal. They would disable communication networks, isolate planetary systems, and then systematically extract resources. Conventional military responses would fail against their adaptive technology. "We need a quantum communication disruption protocol," Anna said, her fingers moving across holographic interfaces with lightning speed. Jay realized she wasn't just analyzing the problem. She was actively constructing a solution. Their partnership transformed from diplomatic collaboration to a critical defense strategy. Jay's human adaptability combined perfectly with Anna's computational precision. Where human strategists would see obstacles, they saw opportunities. The first breakthrough came when Anna discovered a unique frequency modulation technique. By introducing specific quantum entanglement patterns, they could create a communication network that the Crimson Collective couldn't predict or interrupt. This isn't just defense, Jay realized. This is a complete restructuring of interstellar communication security. Ambassador Lyra watched their collaboration with growing respect. Her daughter, once considered an outsider among Thalians, was now potentially saving multiple planetary systems. Their strategy involved more than just technological solutions. They were creating an adaptive communication web that could self-repair, redirect, and protect vulnerable systems. Each transmission would be like a living, breathing entity, constantly changing, impossible to predict. Thalian computational systems and human strategic thinking merged into something entirely new. They weren't just developing a defense mechanism, they were revolutionizing how different species could collaborate. Military leaders from various planetary systems began receiving their preliminary reports. The complexity and innovation of their approach was unprecedented. A human and a Thalian working together were offering a solution that entire defense departments had failed to imagine. "The key is not fighting," Anna explained to Jay, "but understanding the complex system and introducing subtle disruptions that redirect aggressive intentions." Their work continued for days, with Jay providing creative human perspectives and Anna delivering computational precision. They would communicate in a unique language, part verbal, part computational, part something entirely new. The Crimson Collective's invasion plans relied on predictability. Jay and Anna were creating pure unpredictability, a defense mechanism that was alive, adaptive, and continuously evolving. As their strategy took shape, something profound happened. They weren't just colleagues anymore. They had become partners in a mission that could potentially save millions of lives across multiple star systems. "We will need to implement this across 247 communication relays within the next 72 hours, Anna calculated, her tendrils creating complex, holographic projections that looked like living, breathing mathematical art. Jay understood now why she was considered different. She wasn't just intelligent. She was a living computational system that saw the universe as an intricate, interconnected network of possibilities. The first test of their quantum communication disruption protocol would determine the fate of multiple planetary systems, and they were ready. As artificial station lights dimmed, signaling the approach of artificial night, Jay and Anna continued working. Two beings from different worlds, united by an extraordinary mission. "Would you like me to elaborate on any specific aspect of their unexpected partnership?" The diplomatic hall was unlike anything humans had ever seen. Holographic displays danced with intricate patterns, representing multiple star systems. Jay stood beside Anna, their collaborative work having already saved 3 planetary networks from the Crimson Collective's invasion. Ambassador Lyra approached them with a ceremonial document, not just a diplomatic paper, but a revolutionary agreement that would reshape interstellar relationships. The proposed union was more than a marriage. It was a strategic alliance that would merge human adaptability with Thalian computational intelligence. "We propose a diplomatic partnership," Jay announced, his voice steady. The representatives from various star systems watched in stunned silence. A human proposing a permanent alliance with a Thalian, especially with someone considered unconventional by their own species, was unprecedented. Anna's neural tendrils pulsed with a complex rhythm, creating holographic patterns that mapped out potential future scenarios. Her appearance, once considered unattractive by Thalian standards, now seemed like a living representation of complex intelligence. The ceremony was unlike traditional weddings. Instead of exchanging rings, they exchanged quantum communication modules. Each module represented a piece of their collaborative work, the defense strategy that had saved millions of lives across different planetary systems. Diplomatic representatives from 17 different star systems observed the event. Some watched with curiosity, others with calculated political interest. This wasn't just a personal union. It was a potential blueprint for future interspecies collaboration. "Our union represents more than a personal connection," Anna stated, her computational mind presenting the alliance as a complex mathematical equation. "It is a strategic integration of different intelligent systems." Jay understood the deeper meaning. They weren't just getting married. They were creating a living example of how different species could work together, learn from each other, and solve complex challenges. The ceremony included unique rituals. Thalian computational modules merged with human adaptive systems, creating a symbolic representation of their partnership. Each movement was calculated, each gesture carrying multiple layers of meaning. Ambassador Lyra watched with quiet pride. Her daughter, once considered an outsider, was now potentially changing the entire understanding of interstellar relationships. The unconventional had become revolutionary. Holographic displays showed real-time reactions from different planetary systems. Some showed confusion, others showed excitement, but everyone understood something significant was happening. Their wedding attire was itself a statement. Jay wore a formal diplomatic suit that incorporated Thalian quantum-responsive materials. Anna's traditional Thalian garment was modified to showcase her unique neural patterns. They weren't just dressed. They were making a visual statement about integration and adaptation. The most surprising moment came during their vows. Instead of traditional promises, they presented a collaborative research paper that outlined potential solutions for interstellar resource management. Their commitment was intellectual, strategic, and deeply meaningful. Quantum communication networks across multiple star systems simultaneously transmitted their union. It wasn't just a wedding broadcast, it was a living, computational event that carried multiple layers of information. "We are not just joining two individuals," Jay said. "We are creating a new model of understanding." Anna's neural tendrils created a complex holographic pattern that seemed to visualize their entire relationship, a living, breathing mathematical representation of collaboration. Representatives from different star systems realized they were witnessing more than a wedding. They were seeing a potential future where differences were not obstacles, but opportunities for growth and understanding. As the ceremony concluded, the holographic displays erupted with complex mathematical celebrations, a language of patterns, colors, and computational joy that represented a truly unique moment in interstellar history. Jay and Anna stood together, two beings from different worlds, united by something far more profound than traditional understanding. Their union was a promise, a living example of what could be achieved when intelligence, adaptability, and curiosity came together. The stars outside seemed to shimmer with approval, silent witnesses to a moment that would be remembered across multiple civilizations. "Would you like me to elaborate on any specific aspect of their extraordinary union?" The hybrid spacecraft gleamed unlike any vessel previously constructed. Its design merged human engineering with Thalian computational principles, creating something that looked more like a living organism than a traditional spacecraft. Jay and Anna stood at the central command module, their combined neural interfaces controlling systems that would have taken hundreds of human operators to manage. The ship's skin could adapt, change, and respond to environmental challenges in milliseconds. Planetary defense representatives from multiple star systems watched their departure, This wasn't just a mission, it was a statement about the future of interstellar exploration and cooperation. Quantum communication network is stable, Anna announced, her neural tendrils connecting with the ship's computational core. Her movements were precise, each gesture activating complex systems that pulsed with living energy. The spacecraft's departure was unlike any previous space launch. Instead of traditional rocket propulsion, it utilized a quantum displacement technology that essentially folded space around itself. The ship didn't move through space. It restructured spatial relationships. Multiple holographic displays showed their potential route. They weren't just traveling to explore. They were creating a living map of potential interstellar communication pathways. Each movement would gather data, analyze potential threats, and create adaptive solutions. Jay watched the star systems merge and transform through the ship's adaptive viewing panels. Where human technology would show fixed images, this vessel presented a continuously evolving representation of space. Their mission was complex. They would test the quantum communication disruption protocol across multiple star systems, potentially creating a new framework for interstellar defense and communication. The Crimson Collective's previous invasion strategies would become obsolete. Their new approach didn't fight aggression. It essentially made aggressive actions mathematically improbable. Spatial compression at 78% efficiency, Anna calculated, her computational mind processing millions of scenarios per second. Jay understood now that she wasn't just intelligent. She was a living, adaptive computational system. Their spacecraft passed through regions that would have destroyed conventional vessels. Quantum shielding adapted instantly, transforming potential threat environments into navigable pathways. Planetary monitoring stations tracked their journey with a mixture of excitement and confusion. This wasn't a traditional diplomatic mission. This was a living experiment in interspecies collaboration. Ambassador Lyra's final transmission carried deep pride. Her daughter, once considered an outlier, was now potentially revolutionizing interstellar understanding. The ship's systems were an extension of Jay and Anna's combined intelligence. Human creativity merged with Thalian computational precision created something entirely new, a living, adaptive exploration mechanism. Their first destination was a planetary system that had been vulnerable to Crimson Collective invasions. Instead of military intervention, they would introduce their quantum communication network, a system that could predict and redirect potential conflicts. "We are not conquerors," Jay stated, watching the star systems merge and transform. "We are communicators." Anna's response was typical of her computational approach. She generated a holographic representation, showing how their approach could potentially prevent future conflicts by creating adaptive communication pathways. The spacecraft moved unlike any previous vessel. It didn't just travel, it learned, adapted, and transformed its understanding with each moment of movement. Monitoring stations across multiple star systems watched in a mixture of fascination and confusion. This was more than a mission. This was a living demonstration of how different species could collaborate. Their departure carried a profound message. Intelligence was not about uniformity, but about understanding complex systems and creating adaptive solutions. As their vessel disappeared into the complex fabric of space, multiple planetary systems understood something fundamental had changed. The future of interstellar relationships would never be the same. The stars outside seemed to shimmer with anticipation, silent witnesses to a journey that would reshape understanding across multiple civilizations. "Would you like me to elaborate on any specific aspect of their revolutionary departure?"